Hello my dear friends, I hope you all are doing good. This is Prashant Mauni and I warmly welcome all of you to StudyIQ. Identify the person that you can see on your screen. Yesterday's picture was of Abul Kalam Azad. Many of you have provided additional information about him, so that is a good thing because from your additional information other students will learn as well. So this is a very good contribution, and I would also recommend all of you to check out the comment section of the Hindi PIB as well, because there are few students on regular basis. If you go through their answers, then you will get some important points, and that's what this online platform is all about. It is about interactive, and you can say you can learn from each other as well. That's what my efforts are here for. In that direction I'm trying to take all of you. With this, dear friends, StudyIQ provides you with pen, tab and tablet courses for all different exams. Want to know more about it? Check out StudyIQ.com. Just in case if you have any queries, you have chat support available on our website. These are our numbers. You can give us a call on the numbers here. Dear friends, the first item that we have today is of course a bit of sad information. When I say sad, I mean to say that it is pertaining to this CBI director, former CBI director. And remember, Supreme Court a couple of years ago termed CBI as a caged parrot. Now we all know that CBI is one of the most reputed you can say agency in our country, and when we find that its former directors or former director is associated with or is been alleged to have some sort of role in coal scam, then this creates a lack of trust, right? Trust is a thing that is very difficult to achieve, but it is very easy to break this thing, and we don't know whether he is involved in it or not. As of now, this is a sub judice thing, so there is no point of commenting on this thing. But the thing is, one thing is clear, that the image of CBI is bit weakened, and which is not good. The other thing is, dear friends, that now everything should be sorted out in near future, because the court has clearly directed this SIT to come out with or to submit the report in 4 weeks time, and the court has directed the CBI director to finalize the 8 pending cases on or before 15th of January. So we will hear about this thing again, so we'll talk about it later on. With this, the second item that we have, which is again important, particularly for you guys, because many of you would be working for DRI, that is Directorate of Revenue Intelligence, DRI, and on this time and jubilee of this DRI, Finance Minister has said, or he has expressed his views on this thing. But before that, I have a question for you, and the question is that do let me know if the ministry under which you find DRI. Many a times you find this sort of questions in your MCQ exams, so this sort of questions are important, so please keep this thing in mind. And again, the statement of Finance Minister is very important here. What he has said, that the new blood or new generation of officers, right, they have to, you can say, they have to be responsive to change, right, rather than being reactive. Response is a much more controlled way of taking or adopting ourselves to a change, and that's what this is the era, right? In today's era, we know that changes are something, means changes do take place all the time in all different eras, but the pace or the speed of change is quite fast in today's era, and we have to keep ourselves flexible enough, particularly officers, right? So this is also a hint for you guys how you should prepare for your exams as well, because it's not this syllabus that I'm talking about. What I'm trying to say here is that science and art, right, you should try to inculcate both these things with your preparation, because you know that the way we used to learn and study things, everything has changed. The tools have changed, isn't it? First we used to have books, but now we have all this digital platform and interactive things, so we should change our way of studying as well. We should accustom ourselves with this gadgets or tools. So with this, the third item that we have is pertaining to 15th Finance Commission, and the first meeting of this 15th Finance Commission took place in Delhi, and the chairman of this Finance Commission, 15th Finance Commission, is a former secretary, so you can understand that this person is a former IAS and ex-member of Parliament N.K. Singh, right? He is the chairman, and this recommendations of this 15th Commission, Finance Commission, they are going to be implemented from 1st April 2020 till 2025, and the date for you can say the last date to submit its report is 30th October 2019, and they are going to use the data of 2011 for making its recommendation. With this, dear friends, we reach to our focus topic today. Today we don't have that many items that are important, but this one is a bit important. We know that this thing has been, this Uchi has been going on, Uki has been going on for quite a long time. And so let's see what are necessary changes. We are not going to focus on where it has reached and things like that. Of course, I will give you a brief about that thing as well. But more than that, dear friends, see, this sort of questions you do find in your mains examination, isn't it? And one more hint that I would like to give you is that what is, or you can say how cyclones are formed and things like that are clearly given in your NCERTs, right? Standard 11th and standard 12th, right? That are very easy to understand chapter, but of course before that you should understand how winds work, right? You should understand what is ocean current and things like that, because rotation, revolution, all these things are directly and indirectly associated with the things that we see on our, so you should have a good grip on geography. And if you don't, then don't worry, just start from a very basic standard. You can start from 6th standard as well, but remember, you have to read the books like an adult, right? You have to read like a 21-year-old well-educated person. So keep this thing in mind. You don't have to read like a kid studying in 6th standard. So do that thing, and you will find if you go through the question paper, particularly the mains one, then you will find that you can tackle questions pertaining to geography if you have a good understanding of geography from 11th and 12th standard. That's it, right? And a touch of current affair, and you should be all right with geography. Now this Uki was creating, or it created a bit of problem in Tamil Nadu and Kerala and Lakshadweep, but now it is heading towards Gujarat and Maharashtra, right? And you can see here, this is Arabian Sea here, Bengal, Bay of Bengal here. At the same time, dear friends, some other important items is that, or topics, I must say, or area on which you should think about, right? To see, you might have heard about this term that our country, India, is vulnerable to natural disasters. Climate change is having a very severe impact, or you can say its effect is quite severe in country like India. There are not all, it's not that all the countries around the world are having same sort of impact. No, some countries are more vulnerable, some are less, and India is in the more vulnerable category, so we have to be extra careful. The other thing is, see, this whole Himalayan range, we know that they are fold mountains, and you have this boundary lines of tectonic plates here, and because of this thing you find earthquakes, and this is one of the main reason why Nepal had this big earthquake. Then you have, if you go see this portion here, then this portion is vulnerable to tsunami and other things, isn't it? And then you have drought and flood and other things that are taking place because of climate change and other things. So in this sense, you should also observe how government is trying to tackle these things, right? NDRF, we know we have NDRF, and of course NDRF teams are deployed in different parts of Gujarat and Maharashtra and things like that. But you also have this National Crisis Management Committee, which is headed by Cabinet Secretary P.K. Sinha. Remember the name here, Cabinet Secretary. is heading this National Crisis Management Committee. Very important piece of information for you guys. And see, the thing is, what can be done if we learn from the best practices that are applied in India or other countries. Let's say, for example, we know Japan is quite vulnerable to tsunami and earthquakes, right? So over there, it is part of their culture. Everyone basically knows what to do in this sort of situation in natural calamities like tsunami and earthquake. But here, we, even educated people, we are not that much aware about it, these things, and it's not that the blame goes to any particular government or anyone. No, it is part of our culture. But now we have to, as finance minister said, that officers should be adaptable. In the same way, citizens should become more flexible in this era of climate change, isn't it? So what can be done? Say in Andhra Pradesh, if you go to Andhra Pradesh villages that you have in this coastal range, you find that they have a very unique way of dealing with this sort of cyclones. Everyone is generally speaking trained, right? They know what to do during this sort of cyclonic time. They have some points or direction through which they will follow. In this cases, there are dedicated leaders as well. So they will manage small teams. They are not government bodies, right? They are local people. So this indicates society, you can say participation of society is very important. We have also seen during this Mumbai flood that many people were offering food and shelter, and many people were providing other items to the people who were affected by this Mumbai floods. So this again indicates that of course you can imagine that government cannot save, or it's not humanly possible. We don't have that many resources. We don't have that many boys and girls in this NDRF team. Of course they are professional and things like that. Their presence is necessary, but people's participation is must, and we have to think about it. We have to create a culture in our country pertaining to this disaster mitigation. With this, dear friends, let me give you a brief idea about this terms that we find, hurricane and typhoon and things like that. So basically, tropical cyclone is a generic term, and as far as the winds are below 39 miles per hour, they are just called tropical depressions. But as soon as they cross this 39 mile per hour thing, they are called tropical storms, and they are assigned a name. This time we have got Uki. And you have a hurricane, typhoon, different names. It is basically you can say these are local names, or you can say regional names. So cyclones in North Atlantic Ocean, right? This portion and this portion, they are known as hurricanes. At the same time, in this part of Pacific Ocean, they are known as typhoons. And here we call them cyclones, tropical cyclones, right? So this is a basic thing, but very important one for you to understand. And here we go. I have 2 questions here for you. In total, you have 4 questions now. One picture, the other one is DRI, and from here you have who is the main man or woman in our country who holds this power button of nuclear weapons? Who is the person finally will say, yes, press that button, or I will press that button? Who is that person? You have to tell me that. The second one is that name the countries through which you find Mekong. Mekong is a river. I'm not saying where you find this river. Yeah, right. You have to go through your Atlas book if you have to. And do let me know the countries through which this river is passing through. And don't forget to subscribe to our channel. I will share the PDF file of this lecture on my Facebook page, and do share it with others as well. With this, dear friends, I will see you all soon. Till then, enjoy your studies. Take care.